That is what Afghanistan has endured in the last 10 months. Suicide bombings, widespread oppression, an influx of terrorist groups and a brutal regime that rules Afghanistan without a mandate. Now let me show you a picture. It was posted by the Taliban. It shows their interim foreign minister Amir Khan Muttaqi. He met with a team of Indian diplomats today. Let me rephrase this. India is now talking with the Taliban. The picture says it. It's quite a turnaround. 10 months is a long time. When the Taliban took power in August last year, India snapped diplomatic ties with Afghanistan. The Indian mission in Kabul was shut down. Indian diplomats returned home. And now they're meeting the Taliban's senior leadership. Has India had a change of heart? What happened at today's meeting? And what's driving India's engagement with the Taliban? In the next 5 minutes, we'll discuss all of this and more. First, let's tell you about today's meeting. It took place in Kabul. And two different versions are coming out of what happened. One is from India, the other is from Afghanistan. India has not shared a lot of details. The Ministry of External Affairs issued a statement. It says the purpose of this visit was to discuss humanitarian aid and that Indian diplomats are in Afghanistan to oversee the delivery operations. Now, we know that India resumed aid to Afghanistan last year. In the last few months, India has sent winter clothing, 20,000 tons of wheat, 13 tons of medicine, 500,000 doses of Wuhan virus vaccines, and these supplies were not given directly to the Taliban. This aid was distributed through United Nations agencies. Here is what India's Ministry of External Affairs said, and I'm quoting. India's development and humanitarian assistance has received a widespread appreciation across the entire spectrum of Afghan society. In this connection, the Indian team will meet the senior members of the Taliban and hold discussions on India's humanitarian assistance to the people of Afghanistan. So this is India's version. Now let's tell you what the Taliban have said. They say the discussion involved a lot more than humanitarian aid. They say the Taliban came with a wish list, 4 key requests for India. Number 1, more humanitarian aid. Number 2, the return of Indian diplomats to Kabul. Number 3, resumption of consular services. And number 4, resumption of stalled development projects. So the Taliban wants more from India. More aid, diplomatic ties and developmental projects. I have a statement with me from the Taliban spokesperson too. And this is what they say was discussed in the meeting. This is the Taliban's version. India would consider assisting and working with Afghanistan in various fields. And whilst India has recently opened up its borders and ports for Afghanistan exports, leading to increased Afghan exports compared to past years. They would provide further facilities in this area to help Afghanistan further increase its exports and strengthen its economy. Will India assist Afghanistan in exports? Will it open up the Chabahar port for the Taliban, for instance? New Delhi has not said a word on this. What about the rest of the demands? Last month, some reports had emerged. Apparently, India was exploring the possibility of reopening its embassy in Kabul, but without any senior diplomats. The idea, we understand, is to not officially recognize the Taliban regime, but to engage with them, to build some leverage. And this is important for India's security. You see, the challenges for India on this front are rising. Afghanistan is becoming a breeding ground for terrorist groups of all descriptions. Anti-India groups are taking refuge in Afghanistan, and I'm not the one saying this. In fact, these are the conclusions of a United Nations Security Council report. It says, this UNSC report says, Pakistani terror groups have built training camps in Afghanistan. Which groups are these? Jaish-e-Mohammed and Lashkar-e-Toiba. I'm sure you've heard of them. Both groups have launched terror attacks on India. And now they have camps in Afghanistan. Let me give you a breakdown. First, the Jaish-e-Mohammed. It has 8 training camps in Nangarhar. 3 of these are believed to be under the Taliban. What about the Lashkar-e-Toiba? It has 3 camps. They're in Kunar and Nangarhar. Both of these groups have close links with the Taliban. In the past, Pakistani terror groups have financed and trained the Taliban. Now the favors are being returned, it seems. And that's been the big worry for India. The Taliban's close links with Pakistan. Their alliance is decades old. Now some cracks have appeared, especially in the last 2 months. In the month of April, Pakistan launched deadly airstrikes in Afghanistan. Pakistan said that it was targeting terrorists from the Tehreek-e-Taliban. But locals said dozens of civilians were killed in these strikes. The matter reached the United Nations. The Taliban launched an official protest at the UN. From Kabul, the Taliban's acting defense minister sent a message to Islamabad. And here's what they said. This was said in the month of April. We cannot tolerate the invasion. This is the Taliban talking to Pakistanis. We have tolerated that attack. We tolerated that because of national interests. Next time, we might not tolerate it. Tensions have simmered for now. Pakistan and the Tehreek-e-Taliban have struck a deal. Reports say this deal was brokered by the Taliban. But here's what else has happened. The Taliban's differences with Pakistan are now out in the open. They want Pakistan to stop meddling in Afghanistan. And this public spat is being seen as an opening for New Delhi. The question is, can India leverage this? Can India use the diplomatic engagement and aid as a carrot and demand an end to all Pakistani terror camps in Afghanistan? More importantly, would Taliban snap its ties with Pakistani terrorists? Highly unlikely. The Taliban say both sides have decided to increase their interactions. Like I said, it's a cautious start for India. It remains to be seen how far both sides are willing to go. WION is now available in your country. Download the app now and get all the news on the move.